Good evening and welcome, Mastery families. My name is Cece Schickel, and I'm the Senior Director of Organizing and Advocacy for Mastery Charter Schools. Tonight, we will learn everything you need to know about rental and utility assistance. We are delighted to be partnering with the City of Philadelphia Division of Housing and Community Development and the Philadelphia Housing and Development Corporation, PHDC. We are deeply grateful to Councilmember Helen Gym, who fought hard for this program and reached out to Mastery to ensure that our families have access to these resources. After a few brief introductions of our partners, we will have a presentation about the specifics of the rent and utility programs, followed by a Q&A. Please feel free to write your question in the YouTube channel comment section at any time. Mastery serves 11,000 students at 18 schools in Philadelphia. We serve all children, and we do anything and everything we can to support our students and our families. That is what we are doing tonight. The Mastery Parent Action Team recently met with Councilmember Helen Gym and her staff and learned that there is $97 million available to help families in Philadelphia who have been impacted by COVID to help them pay their rent and utility bills. The Mastery Parent Action Team took immediate action. 800 Mastery families have already signed up as interested in this program. That is why we are here tonight, so we can all learn about these resources, how to access them, and who to connect to if we need help. It is my pleasure to introduce Councilmember Helen Gym to say a few words. We all know she's a fighter. We appreciate her leadership in making this program happen and for partnering with Mastery to help our families apply. Councilmember Gym.
Thank you so much, Cece, and good evening to all the Mastery families. I'm City Council Member Helen Gym. I'm chair of the Committee on Children and Youth. And since I came on, I've made housing stability one of my top priorities. In particular, when the pandemic hit and with all the situations that young people have gone through, one of the things I know that is most important is that housing stability is essential to a young person's education, to a family's anchoring, and to ensuring that people are safe, healthy, and cared for during difficult times. Since I've come on, I've tried to make sure that we end poverty-based evictions here in the city of Philadelphia. In 2019, we were the fourth highest evicting city in the nation, evicting almost 20,000 people, or processing actually almost 20,000 evictions every single year. These evictions happened in concentrated parts of our city. They happened primarily to women, to caretakers, and they deeply impacted families. When the pandemic hit, we made sure that we passed laws such as a right to counsel, an eviction moratorium, and a mandatory diversion law that would protect and keep families in their homes. And I'm here today with much gratitude to the Mastery community to say that the city has got your back. We have, a year ago, we started with just $10 million that we scraped together in rental assistance because it was that important that we made sure that families stayed in their homes. That money was gone in a matter of weeks. But through relentless organizing and through the proud presence and visibility of communities, families, women, mothers, fathers, caretakers all over the city, we made sure that housing stability became not just a Philadelphia issue, but a national issue. As a result, and thanks very much to the state legislature and to the American Rescue Plan, there is $100 million in rent assistance that is available. The city of Philadelphia is currently distributing almost $7 million every single week. We are paying and helping pay for back rent. We are providing rent stability over a number of different months. And we are trying to let families know that in times when you might feel the most anxious, that we are trying to find a way to have you feel that the thing that you don't have to worry about is an eviction notice or a knock on the door that says that you have to leave. I am a relentless supporter for families and for young people to stay housing stable. So if there are things that you'll hear tonight that should inform you about your rights, about how to apply for rent assistance, which can also pay for utility payments as well. And if there are further things that you need, I do hope that everybody feels like they can reach out to my office at any time. We will try to connect you with the assistance that you may need. And just expressing my gratitude to the entire Mastery community for staying together through this difficult times, and letting you know that my office and this city will always have your back, and that we'll always be looking out for your most important needs, and especially the needs of your children. Thank you so much, Cece, and I look forward to hearing how this training session goes.
Great, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate your leadership and partnership. So our Mastery schools are partnering with the neighborhood advisory committees, or what are called NACs, in each of our neighborhoods to support you and others during the application process. It's my pleasure to introduce Mr. El Haji Nadai, who coordinates the NAC citywide. We're delighted to be partnering with him and with all of the NACs and the community organizations around the city and our communities. Mr. Nadai.
Good evening, and thank you, Cece, for this introduction. And good evening to everybody else, Raisa, Angela, Tasha, Mike, Jeff, and Robert. Very pleased to be here this evening. And we also wanted to thank Councilwoman Helen Gym for her tireless effort to make sure that we have this program going on in the city of Philadelphia. Again, my name is El Haji, and I supervise the Neighborhood Advisory Committee program for the city of Philadelphia. I'm sorry, for the city of Philadelphia Division of Housing and Community Development. The Neighborhood Advisory Committee, also known as NAC, that's a very popular acronym, if you know. So the NAC is a program, is an old program, 46 years old, and it is the community engagement arm of the Division of Housing and Community Development. It means that the Division of Housing have lots of programs about housing and other social life issues, and they use the NAC program to promote basically those programs. So in a short definition, we can say the NAC program promote citizen participation at the neighborhood level to carry out the city programs and resources. So the way we do that, we fund neighborhood organization every year. And with that small funding, they basically operate in different neighborhoods. Right now, 21 organizations funded through the NAC program, and all located in low and moderate income areas. So for instance, you won't see an organization funded through the NAC program in like Upper Northeast or Chestnut Hill, those areas like Roxborough, so forth. So the other thing that we also need to understand is that with the NAC, we are able to build the relationship, like this one with Mastery Charter School in Philadelphia. And in that regard, I wanted to thank Cece for this partnership. It is a wonderful partnership, and tonight we will witness one of our highlight program being discussed this evening with Raisa from PHDC. So I'm not gonna say too much. I know when you get, I'm gonna leave a room for Q&A, and if you want to know more about the NACs, I'm sure we're gonna talk about it in details, because the NAC will help folks like in different neighborhoods. It don't matter where you live in the city of Philadelphia. So our presence, me and Angela Price tonight, will be to make sure that you will have easy access to those organizations funded through the NAC program, so that you can get the help you need to complete the rental assistance program or utility assistance program. So with that note, thank you so much, Cece, and I look forward for the questions and answers.
Okay, thank you. Raisa, you're on.
Hi everyone, I'm Raisa Kwame. I'm a program analyst at PHDC, and I'll be presenting about rental and utility assistance this evening. So the COVID-19 Emergency Rental Assistance Program is a key program that has been helping tenants and landlords throughout the city of Philadelphia to stay in their homes and to prevent homelessness and housing instability. So Philadelphia has about $97 million to spend on rental assistance and utility assistance. However, as Councilmember Helen Gym has said, additional funds will be available through the American Rescue Plan. Landlords and tenants can both apply, and tenants must be obligated to pay rent on a residential dwelling. Applicants who received funds in phases 1 to 3 of rental assistance are eligible to apply for phase 4. However, they cannot duplicate months. Applicants also cannot receive payment for any rent or utility costs for which they have received federal, state, or local rental assistance for the same costs. So during our application process, we have financial specialists who review up to from 500 to 600 applications a day, and we have a 60% approval rate. The program has distributed over $41 million to date. So the program has 3 key eligibility criteria, and each applicant must meet these criteria, all 3 of them, to be able to be eligible for rental assistance. So a household has to have an income at or below 80% of the area median income. And I will show in the next slide what that represents. So the program eligible maximum annual household income is at 80% of AMI, which, for instance, for a house of 4 people is, or a family of 4, is $75,600. However, our program prioritizes households who are at 50% of AMI or below. This means that they have a priority review. And so for a family of 4, that would make $47,250. So the other criteria is that the applicant or the family has to qualify for unemployment benefits, experience a reduction in household income, incurred significant costs, or experience some other financial hardship due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Additionally, the applicant must demonstrate a risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability. So applicants can meet this criteria if they have any past due rent, past due utilities, received an eviction notice, or are paying over 1/3 of their household income on rent. So phase 4 rental assistance, 18 months in total for rental assistance, and this can include back rent and forward rent. Applicants or families or households must apply for no more than 3 months of forward rent at a time. However, there's reapplication, which means that every 3 months, applicants can receive more rental assistance. So tenants who receive 3 months of forward rent and have not exceeded the 18 months of total assistance may reapply for another 3 months of forward rent. Assistance may only be provided for months of rent after April 2020. So there are no caps or rent caps to the total amount of rental assistance. So there are no caps per month. And assistance may include late fees or other charges passed on by the landlord. So additional fees can be provided, funds can be provided for additional fees, and applicants would choose that on the rental assistance application. So make the selection in order for additional fees to be included. Phase 4 also includes utility assistance. So utility payments can be provided for up to 18 months in total, only for payments accrued on or after March 13th, 2020. Utility assistance can only be for current month and past due utility payments. So the So these were the guidelines, but recently the state changed the guidelines. So there are no caps anymore for either utility or rent payments. The program was different before, but the state of Pennsylvania directed us to remove any rent caps. So there are no more rent caps. So the application process. To apply, you please go to philrentassist.org, click on Apply Now, and click on Login or Register. So when you go to the website, it gives you more indications. If this is your first time logging in, you will need to create an account. So you will need to create an account before you can complete an application as a landlord or a tenant. But once you do have your account, that you can relog into the account to check your status, to be able to submit new documents if your application has been denied, but you are eligible to resubmit. So that can happen if, for instance, you submit an application, but there's missing information. You can go in and say, okay, these are the updated documents. This is the updated information. We will have a guide on exactly what page and what aspect of the application you need to fulfill more criteria or add more information to. That is actually only possible if you do actually meet all the criteria. Actually, you would have to be eligible, but you're still missing information. If you are not eligible for the program, you'll be marked as ineligible, and you will not be able to resubmit further information. So that's only in cases where applicants do not fulfill or meet the 3 main rental assistance and utility assistance criteria. So in speaking of reapplication or resubmitting documents or information, it is much easier if you have the correct documents on the first try, although we will always be available to guide applicants, and we have been guiding applicants on how to resubmit the correct documentation in order for the application to be approved when they're eligible. So application documents for income include pay stubs, bank statements, letter from employer, 2020 tax return, 2020 W-2, 2020 1099, unemployment monetary determination, and self-attestation. So self-attestation is in the cases where an applicant does not have the documentation, is not earning income, or is paid in cash. So they may say so on the application and they can attest to their income. Please note that only one income document is needed from the type of application or as close to it as possible. So then there's acceptable documentation for rent. So we accept leases, but they cannot be expired. We accept letters from the landlord, which must include the address, the rent amount, and the name of the landlord. We accept bank documents showing the rent withdrawal, payment apps showing the rent payments, rent receipts, and the picture of the property management app. Please note once more that leases must be current and not expired. Ensure that the lease is signed by each party. Assistance cannot be provided for monetary value greater than the amount stated on the lease. So acceptable documentation for residency includes a utility bill, a cancel check with the address, a pay stub, government issued ID showing current address, benefits letter, or a bank statement. Acceptable documentation for fees. So these are the additional fees that you can apply for. This includes a welcome letter with a security deposit fee, because we do cover security deposits, a bill showing accumulated late rental fees, an invoice, evidence of payment to the provider of service, rent application and screening fee document, lease outlining late fees and or utility payments, and acceptable benefits documentation, because as part of our application, applicants can either submit income documentation or attest that they receive public benefits and upload a public benefits letter. And this would mean that they would bypass the income documentation section. So documentation for benefits includes the general benefits letter, SSDI statements, SSI statements of benefits, Medicaid award letter, SNAP award letter, retirement statement of benefits, Social Security statement of benefits, Veterans Administration statement of benefits, and TANF award letter. Please note that EBT cards are not accepted as documents documentation showing proof of benefits. So how to check your status? Once you've registered and once you have your application, it's really easy to check your status. You go onto philrentoassist.org and go to Apply Now, and you log in and click on the Status tab. There you can check your status for each application. You can see where in the process it is, whether you need to resubmit any information, whether the application is, these are the statuses, so submitted, completed, completed, correction submitted, that's after you resubmit, whether it's, you should be expecting payment, and whether your application has been denied if you're and ineligible, or denied but you need to resubmit. So the status will give you indication and will guide you throughout the process. However, we are here to guide you, and we are available anytime. And so that means that our help desk is always available. So the Rental Assistance Help Desk, if you go to Apply Now, philrentoassist.org, and help, you can find the Rental Assistance Help Desk, or you can call 311. 311 will guide you and provide more assistance, and will be able to even give you information on your specific application. So some questions we get a lot. When will I get paid? Once your application has been approved, payment will take 2 to 3 weeks. So expect payment in 2 to 3 weeks. And also, how long does it take? So we have a lot of applications. The program has been so far going well in terms of receiving a lot of applications. We really want to help people, and people have been responsive to want to get rental assistance. That also means that we have to diligently go through all the applications that we've received, and we aim to go through the applications. The majority of applications are being reviewed in 45 to 50 days from the date they are completed. And so we do have priority review for applicants who are at or below 50% of AMI, as mentioned prior. However, we also have priority review for applicants who are participating in the eviction diversion program, which Councilmember Helen Gym mentioned, the eviction diversion program. And so we also have priority for applicants who have been unemployed for more than 90 days. We look forward to receiving more applications, and please put your questions in the YouTube comment box, as I will be able to answer any further questions. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Race. I believe we do have a question, and if others come in, they'll be in the chat. So if you could take that first question on. Can you read it, or do you want me to read it for you?
Oh yeah, I see. So
okay.
What does additional financial hardship mean? Can you give examples? What if my childcare costs have increased? So additional financial hardship can mean any additional costs that you receive that are as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic. So it can mean that you've incurred significant costs. Sorry. It can mean that you've had financial troubles. It could mean that you've had difficulty paying bills, and that can mean that could include childcare costs. It could mean that because you've had trouble paying your rent, you haven't been able to pay other costs. So these all are the criteria that are for financial hardship. What if I'm not a citizen? Can I still apply? So the application has the Social Security, the last four digits, but it's optional. So this is an optional field. The only criteria that you need to meet for the rental assistance program are that the household is at or below 80% of area median income. You qualify for unemployment benefits, incurred significant costs, a reduction in income, or other financial hardship, or you can demonstrate that you meet issues of or a risk of experiencing homelessness or housing instability. So those are the federal mandated criteria, and the Social Security, the four last digits, is optional. Does 311 have access to check my status? Yes, 311 can check your status. and we encourage you to contact 311 because they can provide a lot of assistance. There's copies of any documents accepted. Yes, we accept copies of the documents, so you can upload a copy of any of the documents into our system. These documents just have to be documents that meet the list that I have listed. And that list is also on our website, so you can refer to that list for documentation. If I have been evicted before, can I still apply? Yes, you can apply if you've been evicted before. You just have to be able to show that you owe rent on the unit that you are applying for. So you are obligated to pay rent on that unit, then you can apply. So I think that will be through the residency documents. You'll be able to show that. But if you've been evicted, you're at risk of housing. You were previously at risk of housing instability. If you are still at risk of housing instability, then you still meet the criteria for rental assistance. And so, yeah. If I'm currently going to court with my landlord, can I still apply? Yes, the eviction diversion program is very much integral to our program. And so we work closely with the program in terms of knowing who is in court with their landlord for eviction. And we make sure that we prioritize participants of the eviction diversion program. We try to make sure that applicants who are in the midst of a court hearing can be able to get their rental assistance quickly, and who have received alias writs, we make sure that they've also are able to receive rental assistance quickly. So our aim is to work with the eviction diversion program, which we have been successfully working with the program, and it has yielded results that have helped tenants who are really at risk of facing eviction. Does this help with any homeless person who needs assistance to get a rental place of residence? So currently, you would have to show that you owe rent on the dwelling. But we know that as more federal guidance is shared, we will be following the federal guidance to see if that changes. But as of now, you would show that you owe rent on that dwelling. Can I get evicted while waiting on approval? I think that I think that we have, so what's really important to our, a law that was passed recently with our program, the eviction diversion program, is that landlords have to apply for rental assistance before they can evict their tenant. So they have to try to at least get rental assistance. So that's really helpful to stop tenants from getting evicted. But yeah.
Can I add just a little bit on that note? So if you are in court, like first, Raisa is right. There's an eviction moratorium right now going on, at least until July the 31st. And we are working with the eviction diversion court right now. So throughout the court, you can't be evicted because the judge know, and if your landlord go before the court, he or she will be asked to go apply for rental assistance for yourself. Now, and I just wanted to expand that question a little bit, because we have to also be mindful of illegal lockout. Like you come home and your locks are changed, so forth, right? So you can take steps, right? You can call 911 and the police will come and make a report. And also, I'm gonna put something on the chat or share with Cece later. Like if somebody have trouble with their landlord or get evicted, we'll want you to reach out to community legal services, because they work with us throughout the entire program to make sure like people won't get evicted while they are waiting for the application to be processed. And
the next question is, do the rental do the rental money come to myself or my landlord? So landlords can apply on behalf of their tenant for rental assistance. Tenants can apply jointly with their landlords. However, if a landlord is unresponsive for a period of 10 days or more, then the assistance can go directly to the tenant. This period has been a bit longer as we've been implementing the tenant direct pay. However, it still applies that after an unresponsive landlord does not respond to the application or refuses the funds, then the funds will go directly to the tenant for the rental assistance. Do I do separate applications for each utility, or is it all the same application? We have one comprehensive application, and in that application, you can apply for rental and utility assistance, and you can select the utility that you need assistance for. So you would be able to select from PGW, PWD, or PICO. When do I need to apply to be sure the money hasn't run out? So there is no end date for now to the rental assistance, and we encourage everyone to apply because we have funds to give. So we really want everyone to be able to have the rental assistance they need. Is there a time frame to stay in my home after I get assistance? So we want everyone to be able to have more housing stability, so to stay in their homes. So their rental assistance is there for that. And if there's a need for more rental assistance, then applicants can reapply every 3 months. Do I have to pay the money back? So no, the rental assistance is from the US government for different states and localities around the country. And so that money is for tenants and landlords to prevent homelessness, to make sure that rent is paid for the dwelling, and whether it's back rent or forward rent, it is for the tenant and the landlord for those services due to the COVID-19 pandemic financial hardship. I'm still under review, but it's been over 45 days. Now my landlord is threatening to take me to court. So that's a very difficult situation because we have been trying to work with the eviction courts, as Haji has said. The 45-day period is our set period. We've been trying to make sure that all the applications beyond that period are reviewed as quickly as possible. We have our assistant program managers who go through and make sure and see which applications have been there for more than 45 days and prioritize those as well. If you're technically homeless, you still need to submit housing information. So housing information, so residency or a lease, or not only a lease, you can submit other documentation as listed, are there to show that you do owe rent on that dwelling. However, we encourage everyone to apply and answer the questions in the application because we can see if you meet the criteria. So it's better to just go and apply and put as much information as you can so we can review. How does future payments work if I have not gotten a job? So the future rent payments, it's for every 3 months. So they work to be able to provide assistance. Yeah, and so so if you're unemployed, you can put that on the application. And that is also part of our eligibility criteria. So unemployment, if you qualify for unemployment benefits, then you meet the eligibility criteria. So that's actually something you should put on the application. Is lost child support due to COVID-19 considered qualified? So if you've lost any form of income or if you've incurred any kind of costs or any reduction in household income, then you can select that option. Can homeowners apply? So this application, this system, this rental assistance program is for renters and landlords, or tenants and landlords. Does the rental assistance funds go directly to the landlord or to the applicant to submit as payment? So if the applicant has an unresponsive landlord, then it will go to the tenant, but the funds, when the landlord applies on behalf of their tenant, or when the tenant and the landlord apply jointly, go to the landlord for the rental assistance. So that's only in cases where the landlord is unresponsive, and we will reach out to the landlord formally. However, if they continue to be unresponsive or they deny the funds, then it will go to the tenant for the rental assistance.
Is that the end of the question so far? So while I think more questions will be coming in, Tasha, could you talk to folks about how they connect to the NAC and who they connect to with Mastery for any kind of assistance? Because this, as you can see, these applications, it sounds great, but it can get complicated pretty quickly. So one of our goals is to provide as much support to people hands-on as possible. So Tasha Humphrey, who's our parent community organizer, will present.
So good evening, everyone. My name is Tasha Humphrey, and I'm going to give you information in regards to how we can help our Mastery families can get assistance with the NACs. So based on the families that have submitted information, we broke families down to zip codes. So as you can see, the zip codes are in numerical order. So if you find your zip code here on the left, where it says zip code 19104, your NAC will be Mount Vernon. Each NAC that is listed by your zip code has your doesn't have your information, has your name, and we'll be reaching out to you, or you can reach out to them if you have any additional questions for your application. If you do not see your zip code, no worries. You can reach out to me, which I'll show you my information, as well as Jeff, the other organizer, and we'll be sure to link you up to the NAC. Or we will. You can also call 311 and give them your zip code and ask them where's your nearest NAC. Myself, Tasha Humphrey, and Jeff Jones, who's the other organizer. We are the Mastery organizers by school. As you can see, our contact information is our cell phone numbers and our email addresses. So if you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to call us, text us. And if we don't answer the call right away, we will be sure to get back to you with any and follow up with you if you have any additional questions. Jeff Jones has Gratz, Hardy Williams, Mann, Pastorius, Pickett, Prep L, Shoemaker, and Worcester. And Tasha Humphrey has Cleveland, Clymer, Douglas, Harrity, Linfest, Smedley, and Thomas. If for some reason you are in between schools or you can't reach one organizer, you can definitely reach the other. The schools that you see for this project only that are in asterisks are schools that we have divided just for the rental assistance and utility resources program. If you have any questions, definitely please reach out to us. We're here to serve you, and working along with El Haji and his team, we're sure that we'll be able to link families up and get the best services as possible. So once again, take a moment to look at the zip codes. And if you do not see your zip code listed, please reach out to us. Let us know, or we'll connect you to the NAC. Or as Raisha said, you could also reach out to 311 and get the closest NAC to you.
Yes, we really encourage you to apply and to apply with any help from the NACs, from 311, from the PHDC help desk. I see in the chat there's a question, when is the deadline to apply? There is no deadline for now. Please apply, and you can apply for up to 18 months of assistance. So for forward rent, it means every 3 months. And so you can apply multiple times for up to 18 months. So please apply, and we look forward to receiving applications. We have a very big team of dedicated staff at PHDC working to review the applications, and we're here to help households and families who apply for rental assistance. So thank you.
I would just encourage, hit the when to apply a little harder. The money will run out, so apply, like, do not wait. So while there's no deadline, there is a end point when the money runs out.
Yep.
So it's not an endless, infinite supply. This is an awesome opportunity, so we really encourage you to take advantage. And again, just to reiterate, Mastery's in partnership with the NAC, which are community organizations. You've heard a lot of them: Nicetown CDC, Southwest CDC, the Enterprise Center, whole Frankfurt CDC. So organizations in each of our community, either where you live or where your school is, and they are ready to serve you. They are ready to reach out to you. So if you've signed up through Mastery, if you're one of the 800 people who has signed up, your name has, and you consented, your name has been forwarded to those NACs. So they should also be reaching out to you. If you don't hear from them, you should feel free to reach directly to them. We will also put in the chat, if it hasn't already been put in there, a link that will have different documents that will be resources for you. And I believe we can add additional links as documents to that link as we go. And there'll be a list of NAC, a map with the contacts and phone number at each of the NAC and their address. LIG.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that for those who do not have internet home, or they cannot do it themselves, the NAC is here to serve you. So again, look at the list that Tasha put on the screen earlier, and trying to locate like the closest NAC to your home address. And the other way, also easiest way to do it, is call 311 and tell them that you wanted to apply for the program and you wanted to know the closest NAC to your home address. They will direct you, or you can reach out to Jeff or Tasha, and they will make sure that you will go to those NACs. So the NAC can give you like one-on-one assistance. They also can provide you with a computer, so you can sit down and do the application yourself as you wish. So this is just like a lot of support. We wanted to make sure that people who are struggling in this times, they have the help, the assistance they need. So and again, this program don't have deadline, but it means nothing. Once the money runs out, the program is over. So first come, first serve. Just go ahead and apply today, tonight. Don't wait, all right? And also be patient. Raisa talked about it earlier. Although our website say 45 days, but I want you to understand that at this point we have over 30,000 applications, and we're trying to process 500 applications per day. So, and then it can mean a lot of things. So an application can be duplicate, can have errors or missing documentation. So you have to be patient, but we urge you also to every other day, check the status of your application. You can go online and do it. You can call 311 to do it. You can go to the NAC office to do it. So there's a lot of ways you can check the status, but always check the status of your application. Don't just apply and just sit down and wait for somebody to call you. So it might be a problem. So check the status of your application and see what is needed. If they require more documentation, go ahead and provide it and move on.
I just wanted to add also, if you or your family and friends speak languages other than English,
yep.
Some of the NACs have lots of different language capacities: Spanish, Chinese, Mandarin. We will also get that information out to you of which NAC is the best one to go to for, depending on the language. Race, I believe we have some more questions in the chat.
Yes. So the past due payments, reimbursed payments you have made even when you couldn't really afford it. So the past due payments, they will be for any rent payments that you missed or accrued when you couldn't pay for your rent. So that's for the past due, but the forward is for the 3 months, every 3 months. Do you have to wait until you get approved to apply again? So you can actually have multiple applications if you have multiple dwellings where you owe rent. So each application will be reviewed in itself. And so, for instance, we have landlords who have tenants who have multiple. So landlords who have multiple tenants, and so all those applications are, approved as soon as possible. So this is because my landlord didn't accept my other application because they said that they did one already, but it was for future. So sometimes if the landlord has an application for a tenant, they may want to have that one approved. But then, if the landlord is unresponsive for one of your applications, you can, after 10 days or more, you can receive the funds. So we are going to be proceeding with tenant direct. My landlord may try to charge more than I owe. How do I make sure that won't happen? So the documentation, whether it's a lease or the documentation shows how much rent is owed on that unit. So that's how we verify, or our financial specialists, they verify, how much rent is owed on that unit. The documentation has to be, for instance, in the case of a lease, not expired. So it's what's current and what's currently owed on that residential dwelling. I paid my rent during the pandemic when I couldn't afford it. Should I apply for past due in addition to the forward rent? If you've paid your rent, then in many cases, that's not rent that you may owe on the dwelling. So we want to be able to make sure that we follow the federal guidelines in terms of providing rental assistance for rent that is owed, whether it's forward rent or back rent. But if it's been paid already, then it may not be in that criteria where it's still owed. But if you feel like you can't pay the rent in the future, so if you meet that criteria of housing instability in the future, then you can apply for rental assistance, and then you wouldn't have to pay for the rent in the future, because you would meet the criteria and you need rental assistance for future rent.
All right, I believe that might be all of our questions. I suspect people will have additional questions. Again, just want to thank Raisa and El Haji and the city's Office of Housing and Community Development, and also Councilmember Helen Gym again. We look forward to working with you, and for those families who are on the line, please, this YouTube will be live and available. So if there's other people who want to view it, it'll be available for them to view as well. And if you have any questions, please remember to reach out to Tasha Humphrey, Jeff Jones, or directly to your NAC. So unless others have additional comments, I think we are going to close it out for the night. Okay, all right.
We thank you for this partnership, and we look forward to more partnership because we have a lot to offer. Always remember that the City of Philadelphia Division of Housing mission is to fight or prevent homelessness. So anything we can do to help people stay in their home, if that's their choice, we will do. So anything about being behind your rent or your utilities, if you have home repairs, if you are facing foreclosure due to mortgages or real estate all this kind of stuff. If you have those problems, please don't sit home and suffer in silence. You know, just visit your closest NAC, you know, reach out to Tasha. Now we family and Cece, right? And we would be sure to have like a continued relationship to bring some of our service area briefing to Mastery Charter Schools so we can share more resources. God knows that we have a ton of resources in the city. It's just like it's not well publicized. So this forum, this network, give us the opportunity to do so. You know, we can help you in showing you how you can join a NAC, you know, and be an ambassador or what we call a neighborhood advisory subcommittee for one of the NAC. So again, we are very excited about this relationship, and we look forward to our future partnership. And Raisa, as always, thank you so much for your work. You know, you, Ali and Alex and everybody, all the gang over at PHDC. And also thanks to my my right-hand man, Miss Angela Price, for her continued support and help during, because we short staff and we have a lot of work. I think Angie and I, we are the only one that work, like go to the office every day now. We got so much work to do, but again, thank you so much. Thank you, Cece. Thank you, Tasha, Mike, Jeff. Thank you, Raisa. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you very much. Have a great night.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night.